it's really interesting. One of the things we talk about is, and this is all because we've had so many experiences with thousands and thousands of people all over the world who are working with our technologies, and they write to us and let us know. And things that are simple, like for instance, we have certain habit patterns, and we will react to people or situations in, kind of, the same old way, whether we want to or not. And with wearing the pendant or having the eye connect on you, what happens is it's like there's a stopgap, like, wait a minute, I can sit back, I can take a breath, I can become more mindful. And in that moment of mindfulness, I can be more than what I would have been with that sort of knee-jerk reaction.
Yes.
We actually saw, this was really cool, we saw evidence of this. We've done some research with a number of different technologies to show the benefits of this, to show how it really works with our physical body, with our etheric body. It makes dramatic difference. Well, yesterday we were getting some reports back from some brainwave research that's being done. And the equipment that's out there these days it's amazing. They can show all these different places in the brain and what they work with and all kinds of stuff. And it actually showed that it calmed down and quieted the part of the brain that would go into those quick reactions, those knee-jerk reactions. And as we were hearing that, we're going, wow, I mean, that's exactly what this does.
Wow.
It's something where we can operate, we can function differently. And it takes us into being the higher human then, which is, that's the pathway that so many of us are on now.
It was interesting. This researcher was looking at the way when I put this on, that my brainwave shifted she was measuring delta, theta, alpha, beta, and gamma, and the whole back side of the head just lit up and became very active in theta, beta, and alpha. And she said, I've seen this one other place, and that was at this conference where they had this man from Turkey come in. He went into a meditation. He then took swords, swallowed them, and had them come out his neck without blood, which sounded totally unbelievable and gruesome. But she said she saw these swords going through him, and they measured his brainwave patterns the whole time. And she said, that's where I saw this type of brainwave pattern. And I've never seen it before with, my regular customers, which is quite remarkable. Not that I'm going to swallow anything, but the bottom line, it just shows that there is a remarkable shift that allows us to get into a higher state. Obviously, a higher state that can even affect the body physiologically to allow us to align with aspects of ourself, just for healing and well-being. Mm-hmm. Something that we may not fully understand is that every single difficulty that we have in our lives, every single disease is where we have stopped or blocked that flow of energy from source from coming through our body. And we often speak of the heart. It's like the information and running our body doesn't come from the heart as much as we should use a different pronoun that says it comes through the heart. Mm. So, it's like the heart is the doorway to higher self. And the more we tap into our higher self, the more the heart is awakened to that. And it's set up with so many nerve fibers going from the heart to the brain. There are more nerve fibers going from the heart to the brain than there are from the brain to the heart. And so this is what needs to open. This is part of the process of allowing soul to come into this body, to run this body, to use the brain like a calculator and a computer. And so when we have the right things managing the brain, then we really start to soar. Then we start moving into that place of connection and love that is really the purpose for being in a human body. And it's such a joyful experience.
It's incredible. You guys explain this stuff so well. I have to say, I'm absolutely riveted by everything that you're saying. There's so much knowledge and wisdom. And this is exactly the reason that I wanted to put together this summit, because I myself want to learn from people like you who've been doing this for a long time now. And we're not taught this stuff at school in the mainstream, as we know. And it really makes sense. This is a great interview in terms of, you know, the amount of knowledge that we're getting. And you know what, one of the things that I really appreciate that you've spoken about, and it's actually something that every expert, leader, way shower, intuitive that I'm speaking to is saying in their own language, and it's a common thread through this summit, which I love. Everybody's saying how important the human body is, you know, and the physical body, and to bring that light, to bring that energy into the physical body. And I think one of the things that surprised me when I put together this summit is that some people would probably think that, you know, it's going to be kind of all up there and completely ungrounded, right? But all of you guys who have been doing this for a long time are like, no, that it's to bring it in to the physical. And that's where it is. It's the soul integrating with the physical. And I think that is such a great message for everybody watching, because there'll be a lot of star seeds, you know, other multidimensional beings watching, and multidimensional includes the physical, right?
Really, it's like we are operating simultaneously on all those higher levels, but this is the consciousness that needs to tie them together in 3D so that 3D can evolve in a spiritual manner. And so this is such an important time in creation. It's like that's what the shifting of the Mayan calendar was all about, and that's happening with the Egyptian calendar, moving into Aquarius. It's happening with the Vedic understanding of the timing of the precession of the equinoxes. We are moving out of the Kali Yuga right now into the Golden Age. But that isn't something where it's going to be an automatic process where you wake up and say, oh, now I'm in, you know, all the bad guys have been taken care of, and of course I'm one of the good guys. Yes. It's like, it doesn't happen like that. You have to work at your own consciousness all the time.
Absolutely.
And that's the opportunity, because the opportunity is to ground that in your system and then be of service to others, because in serving you are served, and you can't fake that. You know, it really needs to be heartfelt and real, and we all know that. You know, that's the neat thing. We have the rhythms and the vibrational things inside of us that we feel, you know, this is real, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, or stay away from that. It doesn't feel good. And the more you bring your body into those resonant frequencies, like you said, that's a perfect analogy, working with a C tuning fork that starts to vibrate with a C tone. It's called resonance, and that's what Gail was talking about. It's what these geometries do, the tools we do create resonance with higher dimensional frequencies, so they come into our bodies, and then it changes the way we think, it changes the way we feel, and then you don't want to eat certain ways because, then you aren't vibrating as well. And
so for people with all of these sensitivities, like myself included, and I'm sure you guys relate to sort of being an empath, these tools that you have developed are extremely powerful then in helping. It sounds like you just have that kind of interruption, it tunes you to those higher frequencies so that you could really be more mindful about not just reacting, so that you can speed up your evolution, your soul evolution, which is
absolutely. And it really does speed things up, because as you're opening to this higher awareness, and as you're looking at your experience as, what am I learning from this? You're taking in so much. You're in a higher evolutionary path at that point. One of the biggest problems is when we resist.
Mm-hmm.
Many years ago, and I used to do channeling for like scientists and things, and there were some scientists that were working on superconductors, and they were saying, why is it that, this was back in the 80s, that technology seemed like it was moving so quickly, and then all of a sudden it kind of like stopped. There wasn't anything that was really coming forth. And the information that came through was, when you're working with something like superconductors, you're working in a non-resistant field. There is no resistance. That's why things can levitate and all kinds of stuff like that. Now, we resist so much in our life, the way that we have learned, the way we are programmed with so much of what's around us. I mean, in order to create energy rather than being able to operate using free energy, we have to combust and break things apart. Well, in order for us to really move into these higher technologies, we are little by little, and in some cases bigger hunks, learning how to let go of that resistance.
That's
and
the key thing.
Accepting. Now, acceptance is a profound difference. And if you look at, whether it's in healing or relationships, whatever it is, when we can stop that like pushing away or wanting to dull our senses or call it a bad name or whatever it is, and instead sit back and just in wonder and awe, what do I learn from this? What is this opportunity here? That is acceptance. When we say the beauty of what's being presented, even though it might be disorienting, it might be painful, it might be really emotionally distressing. Whatever it is, when we sit and we embrace it and say, thank you for this opportunity, I accept what's being brought to me, then we get ourselves on a fast track.
Yes.
It's so entirely different. And that's what these tools are designed to do, because they're working with the way that energy comes into this dimension. When you go into a beautiful place in nature, where you hear that bubbling brook, the leaves and the colors, and just, it's so delicious, it's so wonderful.
Yes.
Your body just relaxes. You're not resisting, you're accepting, you're going, thank you, give me more, like what we shared before. And that's the way energy wants to work. And so our tools are calculated, are created to enhance that ability to accept. As we accept, then we evolve, and we're able to love, we're able to bring the light in, we're able to really be in service for the good of all.
And you feel as if you are in that space in nature all the time, because you're starting to understand that's the natural order of the universe. And when you feel the natural order, you can carry that with you wherever you go. And when you were speaking about being empathic, I know many of us are, and sometimes people feel almost victimized by their own empathy. Like they so tune in to the pain of the planet or the pain of others or what's going on, and they get sucked into that. But it's important, like with our tools, one of the first things I hear from people is they are saved from that experience of losing self. It's almost like you start to form a field that is so strong around yourself, and you see the integrity and the importance of integrity of self that allows you to be strong from the inside out, so that whatever others are going through, you can offer love, you can offer succor, you can offer support, but you don't have to be pulled into that realm, which is something that sensitive people, that empath sometimes, get caught in.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that, because you're absolutely right. That is, I've had those challenges personally. I've met many people in the spiritual communities who are, very powerful empaths who also have that challenge. So I love that solution. That's really empowering.
We're spiritual beings. We shouldn't come into an incarnation where we feel victimized by the incarnation. We are not being pulled apart by a negative world. We are so strong in that love and light within ourselves. And, that's everything that we're doing to support people, so that this is how the world is shifting. It's shifting through each of us, stepping into our power, stepping into our light. And literally, when we talk about expanding into inclusion of the higher aspects of our being, what that is an expansion of consciousness. Consciousness is not just about the physical. It's about being able to operate from a fully integrated emotional aspect, a mental aspect, a spiritual, psychological, all those dimensional aspects, all the way to soul. When we start incorporating that and expressing it through this little physical body, what happens is that's an expansion of consciousness. And only consciousness is going to change the world. We get caught up in thinking, if we had a better political system, or if we changed our economic system, or if we really start working on our healthcare and our educational system. But all these systems are reflections of the consciousness of the people running them. If you try to change the system without changing the consciousness, you'll go right back or into another situation that's just as unconscious and separating, where it's not taking all of us into account for service to all, for the good of all, for the love of all. And it starts to take us into separation and fear instead of love and unity. So consciousness, each one of us working on that within ourselves, has a ripple effect that is so far beyond what we can even envision, that we see great souls like Buddha and Krishna and Muhammad and Jesus could change so much of the world because their consciousness was clear, because their consciousness was connected, because there was that embodiment of soul that everyone was attracted to. And this is the time when, just as Jesus said, you will do what I have done and even greater deeds. And this is the time when each of us has the opportunity to step up to that offering, that opportunity. The nature of the time is more energy is coming through. We are waking up, and we have each other. We see there are other people that are doing this. There's nothing to fear. Express your love, express yourself, because there is such a tide coming that we can all ride that tide, and each of our successes helps the other succeed even more. And so that's the joy of being here with you, is that we're going, yes, aren't we having fun together? We're in the play box and we're having fun throwing sand around and making little castles and building things. And, if you can find what your purpose is in life, then build the sandcastle that will make people around you explode into more joy and love.
Wise words. I mean, I'm seriously loving this interview. We are learning so much. Thank you for sharing so generously with your knowledge. I want to talk about your free gift in just a moment, because it's amazing, and I want everybody to go and grab that, because I think it's going to really change some people's lives. But before we do that, you've mentioned purpose. There's a lot of people, as you know, who are saying, well, what is my purpose? How do I find it? What would you say to those people? What's your advice?
Well, that I think is everyone's personal journey to find their purpose. And, a lot of times, if you just honor what you're doing, like what, what's in your heart, what, in your relationship. Sometimes when we try to get too heady and go, what's my purpose? And we're trying to figure out something that fits into this world. Well, it doesn't necessarily fit into, this is your job, this is your whatever. Right. But, people know, I mean, when it gets down to it, we're here to love. We're here to love. We're here to expand that goodness, that service to others. We can do that in so many different ways. And when you really, get to the bottom line, it's about love. It's about loving your life, loving yourself, loving others, and knowing that, we are really about unity. We've worked in belief systems that give us all these cues about being separate, power over what's better, what's not, different strata. And when it gets down to it, we are all unity.
Yes.
So it's really about finding your ability to live your life in the most loving and lightful way, in whatever delights you, whatever your gifts, urge you to. I believe that intuition is so important. We're taught not to listen to those higher sensitivities. Those sensitivities are the qualities that really get us on track. And so, my suggestion is, and we'll get a little bit more into this with our free gift, and that is, really come back to that simplicity of listening to that, that inner knowing, that guidance, that resonance that just says, yeah, that's what feels right.
Amazing.
And I wanted to say that, people often think of what's my purpose in the sense of doing something. Mm-hmm. And our doingness, like what I just finished saying, doingness without consciousness is not proper doingness. Doingness has to come from your beingness. When you really connect to higher self. And that's something that if you want to get down to, is there a purpose that's generally there for every single human being? And there is. And that purpose is to be a conduit, to be a channel for the higher dimensional self to come through into this dimension, and to be that bridge that allows love and consciousness to flow into this dimension. And then the way that it's going to flow, that's what universe will support you in discovering. But you have to discover the flow first. You have to serve that love within yourself first, allowing it to blossom. And when that blossoms, then you find out what kind of flower you are. But you don't pull it out of the ground and say, what are you? Are you a daisy? It's kind of like, no, you got to let it grow. You got to make your connection. And once that is flowing, then universe, you just follow the energy, and you're taking footsteps this way. And then all of a sudden, you're walking this way because someone drops a book over here. You go, oh, okay. And then someone says something here, and then you make a great pot of soup, and someone says, this is amazing. I've never tasted soup like this. And you say, well, it's because of the love. And you go, oh, I would love to put love into soup for people. How do I, your purpose develops out of your heart, and not the other way around.
You guys are awesome. I'm loving this. There is so much wisdom coming out, so much helpful advice. Thank you so much. We've only got a couple of minutes left, I'm afraid, and I really, really want to speak about your free gifts, actually, because there's not just one. So can I hand you the stage and take us through that?
Do you want to? Okay. Well, we have two major chapters that we've been working on in a new book, and we're going to pull reports from those two chapters. One will be how to connect to higher guidance, and that's the 12 most important steps to absolutely ensure clarity and accuracy on this path of spiritual evolution, and how to focus on building a strong connection with Source that will endure. And then the second report will be understanding the 12 pathways that Spirit is using in your life daily to communicate with you. Right. So how you can recognize them, how you can emphasize them, how you can feed them so it grows, so you have more communication with Spirit. And that's the second report that we're putting together.
And then to kind of bring it all together, where we've got an attunement that will be like a little short meditation. And in the background of this meditation, we are capturing the energy of our Source Bridge technology, where I mentioned before we have these chambers here on our land, and through sacred geometry and resonance, we are generating certain coherent fields. And we're able to capture that energy on audio tape. And with that behind us, we'll lead you through an attunement to support you in these connections and your ability to really, get your place in your relationships and open up your intuition more profoundly.
Amazing. I'm so excited about your free gifts, and thank you so much. That's highly generous. And I just recommend to everybody, go and rush, click on the link that I'm sending you. You have seen how you guys are phenomenal teachers. You've got a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience. So, if this 45-minute, 50-minute interview is anything to go by, I think people should really download your free gifts and the attunement as well, because I just think you guys are awesome. You have so much wisdom to share. I thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to connect with you, Ariella.
It's awesome. I'm just loving, I'm loving creating this summit and meeting with you guys. I'm learning so much. It's really cool. So thank you for being here. It's truly an honor. And thank you to everybody who has tuned in and listened to this amazing interview. It's mind-blowing. I'm going to have to spend a little bit of time after this interview processing some of the information that I've heard, because there was just huge amounts in there. So many tools and techniques. And the other thing is, I know with you guys, you have these amazing energy vortexes, don't you, around where you live as well. So these three gifts, they're going to be like seriously some next level stuff. So I'm looking forward to trying those out. And just thank you everybody for watching, and please keep on tuning into the summit. I think you'll agree It's been amazing so far, and I've got more experts and more incredible free gifts and information sharing, heart sharing. We're all raising our vibration and expanding our consciousnesses together. It's awesome. So thank you, everybody, and I will see you all tomorrow. Thank you.
Blessings.
Thank you. Blessings.